What's up, guys? I hope you're doing great and amazing as always. Welcome back to my channel, Limelight, after a very long time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon down below if you are new to this channel. So every Thursday you're going to be getting up my podcast called the Sports Glory, all about sports and fitness on YouTube also. 6 p.m. every Thursday. Make sure you check it out. You're going to be having amazing conversation with so many national and international athletes and people related with sports and fitness industry. So let's go to today's episode. Thanks a lot for coming up in this episode of the Sports Glory podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah. And your story seems interesting as you're representing our country in both ice hockey as well as inline hockey. That is like some kind of unconventional sports in India.
Yeah, they were very unpopular sports in India, and I don't know. It's been an honor being a part of the hockey community worldwide as well as a part of the national teams.
That's great. I'm glad to have you on our show today.
Thank you so much.
Yup. So, how does inline hockey and ice hockey differs from normal hockey?
So from field hockey, what we usually call it, what we typically call it, inline hockey and ice hockey are very different sports. Everything about the sport is different from what surface you play on, or from from what surface you play on, or how many players a team play inside the field, or to what you actually play with makes a lot of difference. So inline and ice hockey is played, or they're both played with a puck.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually very different from what a ball looks like, what a typical ball looks like, right? So that's one big difference. The surfaces again are a big difference as compared to the two sports. Also, the number of players that play into a team. So when you look at a inline hockey or an ice hockey team, they consist of both 16 players each, or up to 21 players each team. But when they play inside, or while the game is on inside the rink, there are only 5 to 6 players each. So when you're playing inline hockey, it's usually played between 5 players in each team, and then they usually keep subbing in and subbing out. If you're a field hockey player, you're usually well versed with the terms subbing in and subbing out. For the people who don't know, what it means is you let the other people play, and you catch your breath while the other people are playing for you. So and when you play ice hockey, it's usually played between 6 players of each team, and they both include 1 player as a goalie. So 1+4 in inline hockey and 1+5 in ice hockey for each team. That's the big difference. And I believe it's a total of 11 players each team while you're playing a field hockey game. So that's a big difference. Plus, again, the surface. I think it's very understandable or self-explanatory that the surface for field hockey played on a turf or like an artificial grass-built structure or surface. But for inline hockey, you play on what's called a sport court or still mat, which is typically a combination of plastic and rubber, and ice is basically ice. So yeah,
that is interesting. I had no idea about all these sports before I had a talk with you, and I came to know about you, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, before 2016, when I came back to India from the United States, I stayed away for a year as a youth exchange student, and that's when I really started to play ice hockey. And when I came back to India in 2016, I was surprised to know myself that there was an ice hockey national team. Because how often do you see or do you hear about a player playing ice hockey here in India, right? So I was unaware myself, and when I came back, I felt like I wanted to keep playing the sport because I fell in love with the sport, honestly. So when I came back, I researched and I found out that India does have a national ice hockey team, and then things went on from over there.
That is great. So, what kind of sporting equipments you use in ice hockey as well as inline hockey?
So, not a lot of difference, but there is a very small difference in equipment when you play ice hockey versus inline hockey, because of the major difference that roller hockey is mostly or ice hockey is mostly a full physical contact sport. Like body checking is allowed while you're playing on the ice, while you're inside the ice or on the ice. Sorry, I'm sorry. Um, so you typically are covered from helmet from your head to the toe.
Mm-hmm.
You're protected with heavy duty gear. That's how you play ice hockey. Whereas inline hockey, everything is same except you don't wear very heavy shoulder pads because body checking is not allowed.
Okay.
So due to the lack of physical contact and to make the game fast enough, um, you don't usually wear a very heavy or very broad shoulder pads or like chest pads while playing roller hockey. That's the big inline hockey is basically roller hockey. So it's just a different name for it.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the big difference. But other
Okay.
than that, once you're inline and ice hockey, your full body is covered from head to the toe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like where does the tournaments of ice hockey happens? Like especially like where do you practice in India?
So in India, when it comes to India, we practice. There's a small patch of artificial ice
Mm-hmm.
in a mall in Delhi.
Okay.
It's called the Ambience Mall, and the place is called Ice Skate. That's where we usually practice. But other than that, there's natural ice forming in Leh Ladakh, or country, or I'm sorry, states like Shimla, or sorry, places like Shimla. Shimla is not actually a state, but yeah. So up north, when you go up north, places like Shimla, Leh Ladakh, there's natural ice forming every year
Mm-hmm.
during the winters, and that's where people usually play. And in fact, there's a national tournament happening this year, or later this year, or sometime early next year. And I'm hoping to be able to participate in that as well.
Okay.
So
All the best for that. Hope you get some
thank you so much.
medals.
Thank,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
So like how does it feel to represent our country in both ice hockey as well as in hill hockey? And you are also the alternative captain, right? Are you like proud of
Yeah,
yourself?
I mean, of course, I'm proud of myself, and honestly, I mean, I've always believed that staying grounded or staying humble is the way to go. No
Mm-hmm.
matter how far you get, there's always a long way to go. So I always believe that there's scope for me to be better, and I mean, it's like I said, it's an honor being a part of the Indian national team, and getting to represent your
Mm-hmm.
country where all the other countries come in and try to show what you got best there, right? So it's definitely an honor to be on the national team, but and I am totally proud of myself. But like I said, there's always scope for better, and there's always a long way to go. So
Yeah.
I'm always going to believe that there's a long way to go, no matter how far I've gotten. So that's the way to go.
That was great. You seem so humbled and calm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So like how did it all get started?
So I started skating. Actually, like let's take it to back to day one or square
Okay.
one. I was a little over 3 years old, and my coach had approached my band coach had approached my grandma. He'd come over and to talk about some things, and so they got to talking, and so my grandma asked them, what do you do? And because we didn't know each other very well back then, like our family and his.
Okay.
So he told us that that he was a skating coach or a skating national player himself. So so yeah, my grandma was just looking to have me start go outside and do something on my own and build up a hobby as well. I don't know, this was 2002, I think, when I was three
Okay.
years old. So yeah, that's how I started to learn skating. I'm not sure if I knew how to walk, but yeah, credits to my grandma to put me in the skate. So a little every day. I mean, maybe a couple hours every day. I used to skate. I used to learn how to skate. And my grandma used to take me to the skating rink, and she'd tie my skate laces, and she'd get care of me and drive me back home as well after the training. So yeah, but it didn't get very serious until a little later. Maybe I was about 5 to 6 years old,
Okay.
and then I started to participate in racing championships, so like speed skating championships. That's what they typically call it. So yeah, up until about when I was 9 years old, I think, or a little over 9 years old, I had to give up speed skating because I put on a lot of weight, and
Okay.
maybe I wasn't very best speed skater at that moment. So I do start to explore my options, and I really love to skate. It was a good feeling. So and I wanted to keep going. So I found out that I could play hockey while I'm on skates. How interesting, right? You could. I had no idea that I could play hockey while I'm on
Yeah.
skates. So when I found out, I was really excited and to try out the new sport. And then eventually I just fell in love with it. And then, like I said, in 2015 and 16, these were the years when I was in the United States as a youth exchange student. So I went there, and I was really hoping to be able to, or it was like a dream to be able to play ice hockey or to learn playing ice hockey, which finally came true when I went there.
Okay.
My school was very, I don't know, they were very kind and they were very helpful in making it happen. Honestly, because I wasn't really the best player on the team, to be honest, but I was still learning, and it was a great experience for me to be able to play for the school team, right? So
Yep.
when I came back, I was, maybe a little bit more decent than how I started off. So yeah, I started to explore my options, and like I said, I found out that there was an Indian national hockey team, and then uh, I tried it out, and that's how I got into hockey, and the love just kept growing for the
Okay.
sport, and here I am now.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
great. That's a great story to hear from you.
honestly, yeah.
So like how was the shift from inline hockey to ice hockey happen? I guess it happened in 2015 and then you kept going.
Yeah, like I said, I used to play hockey here in India before I went to the United States in 2015.
Hmm.
But when I got up there, ice hockey is like a very very popular sport over there. And luckily later in the year in 2015, I got to do what they call a clinic with
Hmm.
the coaches over there. So it's just basically training camps. They
Okay.
just name it playing hockey clinics. So yeah, I got to learn a lot more of the game over there during one of the clinics, and then I tried out for my high school team in spring next year. That is 2016, and then I made it to the team, and yeah, and then I played for the team, and that's how I switched over to ice hockey from inline hockey in 15. And honestly, it was a challenge at first, but I don't know. I tend to be a fast learner, so
Okay.
which the transition was a little. I don't know. It definitely was a challenge, but it turned out pretty well. And thankfully, the coaches were very patient with me, and they were willing to teach me just as much as I was willing to learn. So that was, I think, one of the more fortunate moments of my career.
That was cool. Like, do you have to separately train for both of these or you had some mutual training for this?
No, so you obviously train on different surfaces for both of the sports
Hmm.
because, like I said, they're played on different sports, different
Yep.
surfaces, and even the feel of the surface, even how you move on the surfaces differs from, when you compare the two sports, and as well as the puck that you play with. They're pretty much similar, but there is always a lot of difference in the two pucks in an ice
Okay.
hockey puck and a roller hockey puck. So obviously you train on two different surfaces and you train differently, but more or less like off rink training, what we call the off ice training, is pretty much the same because it's the same things that you work on. You work on your experience, you work on your strength, and you work on your core, and that's the way to go. So I mean, the off-ice training or off-rink training is pretty much the same for both the sports. But when you get inside the rink, they're two different surfaces and they're two different sports
Okay.
altogether.
That
So
was
yeah,
great
you
to
do
hear.
need, yeah.
Okay. So like how did you manage your studies in spite of all this happening in your life?
Studies, big question. Honestly, I like to say that I got lucky there
Okay.
because even for my family, my family has been very supportive of me playing. Even before I started to represent the nation, my
Okay.
family was very supportive. So I think the big advantage that I had was the support from my parents as well as the teachers and everybody around me. They just wanted to see me grow and they just wanted to see me play better and better quality hockey, right? So about how I manage studies and sports together, I would, maybe train for about, 3 to 4 months each year. So there was time when I was, away from home, three to
Okay.
four months consistently. So I was, away from school, away from my books, away from literally everything, and all we did was play hockey all day long,
Okay.
right, with the team. So while I was missing, excuse me, school and all that was being taught in school. When I would come back from the training sessions, my teachers would sit with me and help me catch up to all the messed out work. And I think that's the one way I've always managed to not lack in school. Maybe to be able to cover up with the other, or to catch up with the other students in
Okay.
school, as well as play hockey the 3 to 4 months that I played.
Okay. That was interesting. So like how does a typical day in your life look like? Like what kind of trainings do you do and like you work or you do your college now?
So yeah, I do have a job
Mm-hmm.
at an event at
Okay.
a wedding planning in Mumbai. That's where I'm based.
Okay.
Um, but since we're all locked down, or since we're all staying at home now, we're always working from home. And I mean, again, I think I'm lucky that my coworkers or my bosses or everyone else at work have been super supportive of me playing as well, training as well, because it gets very challenging if people around you, or if the people you work with don't want to see you
That's totally right.
train, or don't want to see you invest all that time and energy into playing, right, into training. Because again, for a lot of people, it's just a game, but only the not a lot of people understand what it means to us, or what it means to the athletes, right, when they're training and playing, or trying to be better versions of themselves each day. So talking about how my day looks, so I wake up usually about at 5:30 ish in the morning. Then I go out for a run. I usually do about 6 to 10, anywhere between 6 to 10 kilometers of a run, and then I come back home and do a little bit of my stick handling training, or sometimes I shoot pucks to the net. So that covers my stick handling, my endurance, as well as my accuracy training sometimes. And then you know it's usually about 10:30 when I wrap up my training in the morning.
Okay.
And then at 11:30 ish, after I'm done eating breakfast and stuff, I sit to work. From then up until 6:30 to 7, sometimes 7:30, I work related to the job I have, that is the wedding planning company, um, um, where I work. So yeah, after that, I usually go out to train again.
Okay.
But this time I'm training on skates. So I put on my rollerblades and I go out and play. Sometimes I work on my stick handling again, or puck control, or just on skate training, just trying to develop person skills. That's how my day looks like here when I'm locked down, or when I'm staying at home or
Okay.
quarantined.
Okay. You seem really busy and like thanks a lot for actually taking some time and coming up to this podcast.
Oh no, 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 absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's a pleasure. It's an honor being here.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So like, do you have ice hockey or inline hockey included in schemes like Kelo India or SDAD? Like, what kind of support do you get from government?
From the government, I'm not really sure
Mm-hmm.
if there are a lot of I mean financial support that we get, but I do know that we have reserved some sort of sports reservations in
Okay.
grade C jobs at government places. I know for a fact that we have those reserved. Plus, I believe ice hockey is becoming a part of the Kalo India policies. It's still under process, but
Okay.
I'm not really sure if it's quite done yet. But I do know for a fact that we're reserved under the government's reserved
Okay.
quota. Yeah.
I hope it gets under Kelo India, because like Kelo India is going to give you a lot of opportunities and financially help you out.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's for the passion, but every little bit counts, right? Every little bit helps. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope it will happen sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Let's see.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah. Like, did you have any major injuries in your career? First, like, how was your comeback?
Yes, I did have. I did have injuries, mostly my shoulder injuries.
Okay.
It started in, I think, 2014. I think that was the first time I dislocated my right shoulder, and then I went to the U.S. Like I said, when I was playing hockey in the U.S., I dislocated the same shoulder again. It was like a grade C separation or something like that. So it was pretty tough. But since I had a past with on the same shoulder, it was kind of tough to get back. But I eventually got back, and I was able to perform very well again. Then I came back to India, and I managed to dislocate the same shoulder again. So that's the one big I don't know, injury that I've always had. It
Okay.
was with my shoulder, but I'm always working on trying to better myself, or to strengthen my shoulders, because that's the key. So yeah, but getting back wasn't really a challenge always, because I had this mindset that if I'm playing a sport, injuries are going to be a part of it. And if
Yeah.
I'm playing a sport with full physical contact, ice hockey is supposed to be the toughest sport, to be
Okay.
honest. So, and as well as the fastest sport. So if I'm playing these sports, I'm supposed to be having injuries. Otherwise, am I playing the
Yep.
sport? I mean, am I really playing the sport at all? Right. So yeah, I was always ready to face all these injuries, and that's the way to go.
Yep. It is just a parcel and part and parcel of sports career.
Yeah, I think being mentally ready to accept those as a part of the journey, instead of seeing it as a challenge. I think that has helped me out a lot
That's
always. So
totally that's totally right. Yep.
yeah.
So like what is the process of selection of like getting into the national side for ice hockey as well as the inline hockey?
So I think both of the selection processes work pretty similar.
Okay.
I think. So what happens is you have levels of. I mean, since you've played cricket, I believe you'd understand that you've different levels of tournaments or of championships that keep on happening each year, right? So it starts right from your district level. So like
Okay.
very small amount of people, they get together and they form a team, and then they go out to play a state championship, and then once you qualify, they pick out the best 16 players to perform at the national championships. I mean, it sounds very easy while I'm saying it, but I
Yeah,
know
yeah, I
it's a
get
lot
it.
of work. I know you do too, because you obviously know you're an athlete
Yeah.
yourself. So yeah, so once you get to the national level, once you perform well at the national level, you qualify to try out for the Indian team. And once the
Okay.
Indian team tryouts happen, all the qualified players come together and they try out for the Indian national team. And so there's all kinds of tests that happen at the national tryouts, or at the international tryouts, like your endurance tests, your skill tests, your accuracy, so all different kinds of tests, to make sure that all the players are very well sound on and off the rink, right? So that's how the selection processes work.
Okay.
And there's only one criteria to be good at what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And only the best or the fittest 16 get to go.
Yeah.
So that's the one way. And then once the team is selected, you train for about 3 to 4 months with the teammates. So you build up a rapport with the other teammates. You know things about the other teammates, right? You get to know them better as hockey players as well as other people. So yeah, and then we participate in international championships as well.
Okay. So like where does your national camp happens in India?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Like where does your national camp happen?
Oh, where does it happen? So it's usually different places each year.
Okay.
It's mostly up in the north because
Okay.
that's where a lot of players are from, and a lot of skating rinks are built. So it's usually up in the north.
Okay.
It's mostly so all these years that I've played, it has mostly been in Delhi, or in Leh Ladakh, or sometimes in Punjab. So all these places, definitely up
Okay.
in the north.
Okay. So like, thanks a lot for sharing that. So like now,
Absolutely.
yeah. So like now let's get to the second session. I want to like make this interesting with some rapid fire question. I hope you answer it pretty fast.
I'm gonna try. I've never really done this before, but I'm gonna try. Totally.
Okay. Okay. Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise,
Cardio or strength training?
cardio,
Favorite food?
pizzas,
Okay. Favorite movie?
miracle. It's a hockey
Okay.
movie.
Okay. I've seen that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So like, who's your sporting inspiration?
Sorry, there's a lot of people,
Okay.
but to name one, Giroux, the captain of my favorite ice hockey team.
Okay.
I've learned a lot from him, but to name my inspiration, there's literally everything and everybody that I come across around me every day inspires me. So I'm so it's only been recently that I've developed this mindset that wherever I go, I'm gonna try to learn something. I'm gonna try to
Okay.
learn something to be able to become a better version of myself. So whether it's while I'm training or while I'm not training, every time I'm just trying to learn something. So everything is inspiring.
That's great. That's
And
great. So like your dream destination.
USA.
Okay. Your favorite sport apart from hockey?
I do not have another sport, but let's go with basketball.
Okay. So the last question is describe yourself in 3 words.
Um, I'm always gonna be a hustler
Okay.
or a grinder. I'm gonna be hardworking. Um, I like to be humble, and I like
Okay.
to be a teammate more
Okay.
than an individual player. Uh, that's the 3 words I'm gonna use.
Okay. That's great. I totally believe you are humble and much more calmer.
Thank you so much. But
Yeah.
I'm always learning. It's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to brag about myself, but I'm just trying to become a better version of myself. Of course, I make
Okay.
mistakes myself, but uh, it's always. I mean, learning matters, right? I'm
Okay. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally right. So yeah, we're done with this rapid fire question. So like now let's get a third session, that is the audience session. I've got 2 questions
Absolutely.
that audience want to ask you. So like
Sure.
how should be my skating in order to get into inline hockey?
Skating is one of the most important parts of the game. I think
Okay.
it's the most important part. I
Okay.
mean, if not one of the most important, it's definitely one of the most important parts of the sport. Either ice hockey or inline hockey,
Okay.
both sports. Because if you're not able to control yourself while you're moving so fast, you're not going to be able to control the puck, or you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to control the gameplay altogether. So I think the most important part is skating. And
Okay.
if you're not, I mean, you always want to be the best skater, if not the best hockey player.
Okay. That is great to hear. So like can somebody make a career out of ice hockey or inline hockey in India?
Honestly, I'm not really sure myself,
Okay.
but I've only recently started this journey of looking at hockey in a very different way. Earlier, I mean, up until earlier this year, it was only my passion. It was only for the love of sport that I was playing it. But now I've developed this sort of mentality that actually want to get somewhere playing it. I actually want to make it to pro level hockey or make it to like big leagues. So I'm not really sure if it's possible to make a career out of ice hockey or inline hockey in India,
Okay.
unless you want to go out and coach other people or train other people. Of course, you can charge and become a professional coach, but that's not something I would want to be interested in. I want to keep playing
Okay.
until at least as of now. So
Okay.
I'm not really sure if it's possible to do it, but I'm going to try my best, and I'm going to be able to. I mean, I'm hoping to be able to travel and play better quality hockey in future
Okay.
times.
I hope
Yeah.
audience got their answers. So, like, we're almost at the end of the session. Like, one question that I want to ask you is your top three advice to someone who want to get started with ice hockey or just inline hockey.
Top three advice. I think the biggest advice that I can give is that follow your heart, or follow what your heart says. Follow, um, do what you want to do. Do what you feel like doing. I mean, because a lot of times what happens is you get demotivated or discouraged by a lot of people, because a lot of times it's not a lot of people keep encouraging you. Of course you're going to have a lot of people looking up to you and encouraging you and wanting you to be better, but there's always times when people see other ways. Everybody has a perspective of their own. So, and some people are vocal about it, more vocal about it than other people, and they're going to talk to you, and they're going to straight up tell you, or they're going to straight up ask you, hey, what are you doing, man? This is not what you're supposed to do. Do go out and get a job, or do something productive. But the biggest advice that I'm going to give is follow where your heart goes. Do what you like to do. Don't just do anything to show to somebody else. Don't just do anything to prove something to somebody else. Do it because you want to do it.
Okay.
I always like to say this: do it because you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great to hear. And we're about the end of this podcast. And thanks a lot, Vishal, for coming up. It was nice talking to you, and glad we got connected.
Thank you so much for having me over, Ashra. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for the opportunity as well. And
Yeah.
I want to wish you good luck, and hope you get good. I mean, get to play better quality cricket. Like you mentioned, you play for the Tamil Nadu national state team, right?
Yep.
Very well. Good luck. Good luck to you in the journey.
Thanks a lot. I also hope you make it top in your career and reach great
Thank you.
heights.
Thank you so much, Ashra.
Yeah.
Likewise.
So thanks a lot for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed the podcast as much as I did, and it was amazing talking to Vishal and to getting to know about the culture of ice hockey and in-hill hockey in India. So I hope you got some values out there, and comment down your thoughts down below. And if you liked it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe my channel if you haven't, and click on the bell icon down below and show some love in the comment box. And thanks a lot for listening, guys. Signing off. Limelight, aish.